Hello, man. Hello, Mgtows. I'll just give it a second. Try to. Hello, man. Hello, Mgtows. There we go. There we go. So I wanted to see if everything was coming out. The sound was everything coming out and everything. Kind of a solemn day in Mgtow today, and we ask ourselves the question: why we Mgtow? Why we do this? Why go through all this? And I guess it's for the men. It's always for the men. The men that come around are broken, and things didn't go right in your life, and a lot of things go wrong most of the time, and we try to help. We try to help whatever way we can. Sometimes that's not enough, and it's sad. Today we all got the news that Timmy Blades had passed, commit suicide in an imprisonment, I suppose, and they couldn't take care of him, and it was sad. It was sad because I knew Tim well, and I tried to help Tim. Wanted to show you some of the stuff Tim had sent me, and wanted to talk about it. And I want to talk about our duties here in Mgtow, and what duties we have. Okay, check that back, get the sounds. Hopefully it sounds okay and everything. Usually StreamYard runs a couple minutes behind and everything. So today I put some pictures up. Last time I talked to Tim Blades, I guess. Let me get this and put this through there. And got to put that through there. It's all tangled. I guess if you could see it, I got my the spray paint gun that Tim used. Tim seen my van and thought that I could use a new spray painter. I said I had a little spray painter, and it wasn't quite good enough for this. So let's try to find a spot for this so you can see it. There we go. And you can see Tim says to Joe, "Love, Tim, and you saved my life." And it was sad. It was sad. When I looked at this today, I pulled it out of my garage, and then I remembered that there was some stuff in it. And then he says, Tim Blades, someone's in the Mgtow. And then he said, Dick Joe says you need it. And so he sent me this quite expensive too. It's an expensive spray painter. I listened to you, Dad. Tim called me Dad. Then he made a joke, Daisy Duke of Sindlavia comedy, love some trab. And I look at it and it makes me sad. So when I opened it up, there was a little, got a little more in depth and a little more dark. It says paid for in Mgtow blood, ACDC, Blades, Timothy. And at the end, Timmy called himself Kool Kieth. And that's what I'll read this. I have a letter from Timmy in here. What his thoughts were at the end and what Tim was thinking about. Tim went by the name of Kool Kieth. You can see it was written by Timmy. And this is the spray gun he used in his spray gun videos. And I put it together, but I don't seem to have the extension there. And, use a hose on that. Well, actually, it goes right there. And it's a gravity feeder. And it's a really nice gun, 1.5 millimeter tip. And then said, you're going to need to clean it, Joe. So he sent me a little brush, and he says, from Hedis. Didn't like to call it APD, and that's a reference from Hedis. And he sent me a couple other things in here, and I wanted to show you these. These are from Las Vegas. Now, Tim got a card out of Hank Williams deck, the Hank Williams deck, the Three of Clubs, and he sent me from Caesar's Palace. And he sent another card from me. It was a Joker card. It's XO. It says XO Timmy Slice, Timco Slice. It's by. It says. California or Bust by B.M. Mahones. It's an autograph by B.M. Mahones, which is a cartoonist and friend of Timmy's, and it's a Joker card. And I don't know why he would send these to me, but they were valuable to him. And I think he was just starting to give his stuff away at that time and planning what he did. And I should have seen that. I should have been able to seen that. And I feel bad about that nowadays. And we talked for a while, and Tim was rather distraught. And that's what our job around here is, to help the men that were distraught. And this is the letter. You can see it. It's a letter to President Trump. He sent me a letter because obviously he wanted me to read a letter to President Trump. He wanted me to know what was going on. He wanted to tell me something. And so he sent me this letter. He says, my name is Kool. I call him Kool Kieth. My name is Kieth Richards Kazarag of Kazarag, Rizzo, Carter, Moorhead family of Chicago. I'm a dislayed veteran, American veteran, U.S. Navy Marine Corps Department. Tim did 4 tours of duty in the war, and Tim was a hero. And I think we should remember that. Tim was a hero. He says, I live in Rio Ranchero, New Mexico. I'm having problems with the Rio Ranchero Police Department. My issues started in 2013. They continue now. I ask for my prayers from the. I ask you for your prayers and the DOJ to come this drug cartel known as the Rio Ranchero Police Department. Tim was concerned that the Rio Rancho Police Department was selling drugs, and he was probably right about that. I've expressed my concerns to Mayor Governor Suzanne Martinez and the Honorable Tom Udall and Ronald S. Hettis. So that's the reference on this. It's a little, he says, he put it on this thing here. It's, you can see it. It says, this is from Hettis, and that's who he's talking about. My ex-father-in-law is manipulating the city's revenues and resources. And he thanks you. Thank you for your time, Semper Fidelis. Keith R. Kazarag. He puts over the date, and it's USMC E5 Sergeant. He was Sergeant Tim Kazarag, a veteran. Did 4 tours of duty. And he says, P.S. I have a history book I wanted to send to you, Joe, from Kool Kieth, TAF. And there's a letter. That's the last, it's one of the last things I ever heard from Tim. And it makes me sad. I wish I could have been there. I wish I could have went there. If I'd have known, I would have went there. All right, would have offered him to come up here. Tim, after this, he contacted me a few times, and he did a 48-hour stint. So he went back up to talk to his father, and or the man who raised him. Keith didn't have a mother or a father. Keith had a horrible childhood. His uncle saved him and took him up to Chicago, and Tim loved him like a father. Tim would talk about him a lot, and he had, if you listen to any of the videos or listen to the video, he had much respect for his uncle, and he raised him and made him the man he was. He was a hero. He was a Marine, and he did a pretty good job, I think. But through all that, Tim came home to a system. Tim came home to a system that didn't respect him as much as he respected that system, and as much as he gave to that system. He gave his life to that system. Tim's father had left early. Tim's mother was murdered by his father, and he was either in jail or whatever happened there. I really don't know. But he was raised by his uncle, and he joined the Marines, and he did what he's supposed to do, and he got married, and he had 2 kids, and he did what he's supposed to do, and he sent the money home. And when Timmy came home, there was not much home left for him. His sister had died, and that caused a lot of stress, and nobody knew what to do with that kind of stress. Nobody knew how to take care of that kind of stress. Till Tim came in Mgtow, and he met a few men that we learned to love Tim. He was humorful, he was crazy, and he was a good guy, and never said anything wrong. He had the same old problems all of us men have. And Mgtow is he had to deal with the trolls. He had to deal with Mexican Mgtow. He had to deal with the anti-Mgtows. He had to deal with all the creeps coming around and telling us that we're not good enough. And if you ever known Tim, he was a hero. He was a man. And someone telling him that he wasn't good enough was laughable. It's the way I feel when someone tells me I'm not good enough. It's laughable. And eventually, I stopped hearing from him. He took down the conversation we had running on Hangouts, and I can't find that now. There's one left. It's got nothing in there. And I got to look back and try to, do that deep introspection and do the thing that I'm supposed to be doing around here. And do the thing I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm supposed to be helping out, and I'm supposed to be here to talk, and I'm supposed to be here to listen and hear all your hear the problems, and because we can't go nowhere else, and then problems eat you up inside, and you come home to a country that hates you more than you hated the enemy. And I'll put that up on my dresser there, and that's where it'll stay forever. And I'll look at it, and I'll try not to cry when I look at it. Tim came home to a country that put him in a prison, and he really didn't do nothing. Kept him on a 48-hour hold for having PTSD, for post-traumatic stress disorder, for fighting a war that really probably wasn't necessary. But Tim seen it as patriotism, and I seen it as patriotism when I did the same thing. You come home, and there's nothing but nothing but pain. Tim's wife eventually left him, and he couldn't see the kids, and it was a long battle to see his kids. And Tim's sister died, and Tim didn't have a great life. And he gave so much. He gave everything to us. He gave everything to us, and even though his wife's life was traumatic, full of trauma, and he kept a happy, smiley face, and he tried to make us laugh, and but in the end, it got to him. And over the last year, I see all the Mgtows out there. They're laughing, they're joking about women, getting in drama fights. That stuff is secondary. It's secondary to what Mgtow is for. Mgtow's for the guys like Tim. I guess we didn't do a good enough job, and I guess Tim's seen that at the end. I can't remember who he was. I think he was arguing with Hell by the Dashboard Lights and the anti-Mgtows, and probably a few Mgtows too, so-called Mgtows, and there was a lot of casual cruelty at that time, and I don't think Tim was about that. Kieth, his real name. I should use his real name. Yeah, that's a good idea. He used his real name, like in the Matrix. His name was Bob. His name was Kieth. His kid's name was Kieth Kozarok. No more. I guess there's no anonymity in that. No more need for any anonymity, and it's just sad for me. And we gotta take this and do something with it. And what do? We take it and we do something with it. I can even see right now 5 people watching. Nobody wants to do this, and tells you to shape a Mgtow. Tells you to shape a Mgtow, the Mgtow thoughts. But if I put thought up there, or talking about the bitches, there'd be a bunch of guys around. But that's the shape of Mgtow now. Insignificant stuff fills their minds, and arguments, drama is just a way to fulfill drama, like drama in a marriage or drama in a family drama. That's lashing out for approval and entertainment in your life and those things. But I was saddened today by Keith's passing, and I thought he just went away. Keith done that, he just went away, and I thought he'd always come back, so I never emailed him a few times, and we talked on the phone a few times after he sent me that, and he was up with his uncle, and I talked to his uncle, and he rather admired his uncle, and that's the kind of guy Tim was. He rather admired the man that raised him, and then he stopped calling, and I got to wonder now if we failed him, if I failed him, what I could have said. That last words, I was trying to sum up those last words that I said to him when he was talking to his uncle, and I was in a hurry, and he was out going out to dinner or something, and he was excited about that, and he wanted to introduce me to him, and he called me Dad. So, what is Mgtow about? What is Mgtow for? What is Mgtow? What are we supposed to be doing here? We're supposed to be helping. Stardust did a good video today on the emotional needs of men, how they'll never be met by the females. We go out there, and I think Timmy knew that. Timmy knew that the emotional needs that he had far outweighed what any woman could give him, and when he came around and he called on his brothers. He could have went back out and there and just took another woman, but he knew these emotional needs were never going to be filled in that capacity. And it's a good lesson. It's something we should all just accept. There ain't no validation in that. There ain't no nothing you get from that. You might get a quick piece of ass and some 15 minutes of enjoyment, but you still got the other 23 hours and 45 minutes of the day where it's going to be nothing but trying to fulfill every single need that she has, so you get that 15 minutes. And that's the sad thing. I don't know how many men I've talked to over the years that said, She said I was never around, that I was always at work. And then the first thing that came to my head is I'm always at work because I'm trying to make life better for you. And they don't get it. And that's the reason she left, because he's never around. That's a soul sucker, isn't it? You spent 20 years at work, and that's not enough, giving your family a decent place to live, and spending 60, 70 hours there. So she has a new car, and that's not enough, and nothing's ever enough. And eventually she leaves for Uncle Sam's support, which seems to be enough. And I don't know what Uncle Sam has that men don't have it every day. But I guess he's the total alpha on that. Yeah. So that's the state of our. That's pretty sums up the state of Mgtow and the state of coming home to this place. Most of us men, a lot of us men. I don't know, most of us, a percentage of us went away and did our duty for our country and everything, and came home and expected more out of it, and we get nothing. And what they did is threw them in a county jail on their mental health issues. And that's what they do. Never tell them you got PTSD, and never tell them you're thinking of violent thoughts, because now you become the enemy of the state. They liked it when you were a little killing machine for them, but they don't like it when you come home and they have to pay their end of the deal. And Timmy paid the ultimate price in that, and he paid the ultimate price for us. And he did the ultimate act. He committed suicide. But if you read that letter, like I read that letter, Tim's concerns was of much more than Tim's concerns were of much more than himself. Tim was concerned for his community. He was still, after all that, concerned for his community. That the county police department was selling drugs to the community and misappropriating funds, and he wanted someone to know about that. So he wrote a letter, and he sent it to me to say it, and maybe it's my duty to copy that letter and send it on and make sure some people that need to know about that and how he committed suicide in a public facility that was meant to save his life and take care of his needs. That's beyond me, but his concerns were not of himself. His concerns were that the Rio Ranchero Police Department was selling drugs. I got to start putting 2 and 2 together on that one. Did they make his life miserable? Yeah, they did, I bet. I bet they made his life miserable. And Tim wanted someone to know that. So I'm going to make some copies of that letter this week, and I'm going to send it off to every congressman in the country and let them know. And I think that's my duty as a Mgtow and a friend to a man that was a friend of mine. He was a hero. And he deserved better than that. He deserved better care, and he deserved better from us, and he deserved better from this world. And that's all I got to say today. So I'm going to take a photo of that letter. I'm going to post it up. And if you guys want to share it, please share it. And make copies of it and send it to your local congressman and your local police and your local FBI and whoever you want to send it to. Uh, because I think that was Tim's last dying wish, that somebody noticed what was going on in his town that he had problems with. And I think it's my responsibility to share that, or at least try to help. So that's all I got to say. They're going to block me anyways. So I'm going to end this like always. Go your own way, men. Go your own way. And just try to deal with this. Have a great day. Most of all, thanks a lot for being Mgtow. And thanks a lot there for being Mgtow to one of our Mgtows, Timmy. Or Kieth. Cool Kieth. And remember him for the good guy he was. Thanks a lot. You guys take care.